We live, baby.
Oh,
What's happening? I am in the process of sharing this stuff out here. I would appreciate it if you guys, when you hop on here, would do so as well. We have a really cool episode tonight. JR and I are going to be counting down our top 8 baits that if we were going to a tournament on an unknown lake that has largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass on it in the springtime with no pre-tournament knowledge, what 8 baits will we choose? And we're going to rank these as close as we can, from 8 being the least favorite to number 1 being something that you're probably going to throw all the time. But with that being said, we are going to get out there and we're gonna dig through these things in just a second. But we're gonna get started with our intro. We'll see you in 39 seconds.
That's a life of a fisherman you wouldn't understand. Something you can't feel on dry land. You gotta get your arm way up in a cave and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. You gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis rod. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give the world. Hello, welcome to my world.
And we're back. Before we get started tonight, guys, again, JR and I are going to be counting down our top 8 favorite baits if we were going to a one-day tournament. What's up, Jack? A one-day tournament. A one-day tournament with no prep, no pre-fishing, and no prior knowledge of the lake. But before we get started there, it is the time of year where new sponsorships happen. A lot of crazy things have been, kind of going on in the world of bass fishing. I saw today that Mike Iaconelli left Rapala. What is up with that?
that is nuts. I mean, he's been with them for years.
Yeah, Hank Cherry left Berkeley. There's a lot of moving and shaking. But here on another line, we have picked up a new sponsor, as you see in the middle bottom of our screen here. We are now proudly partnered with Malone's Marine in Ironton, Ohio. Chris Malone has reached out. He and I have been talking about working together for quite a few years now, and the opportunity arose. JR just bought a boat from him down there, a new PHX 21. So that'll be coming in. Shoot, man, that's what, this weekend? Thursday?
And it got pushed back a little bit, but next week.
Yeah.
I
hope
cannot wait.
I hope that comes up. Hey, Jeff Wallace, what's up, buddy? Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I've been lucky enough to get out this week. It's been kind of crazy. I'm hoping to get out this weekend, but it's going to be frigid. But with that being said, again, we are now partnered with Malone's Marine in Ironton, Ohio. We are super proud to be doing that. As you guys know, I've been kind of looking in the idea of buying a new boat. I've tossed that around, and I've tossed it into the situation where it's not happening for me. I think I said it last week on the show. My boat is paid off. I've spent $10,000 on it in the last year putting graphs, and I put a brand new Minn Kota Ultrex Quest on it that I got from Malone's. Tyler and the guys down there rigged that thing up for me. Works great, 36 volt. I'll be doing a review on that thing as soon as I can get back out on the water. I did do a short about it the other day. JR and I was out the other day. Pushes my boat with 4 lead acid batteries that are Odyssey batteries. They're 70 pounds a piece. Plus my 250 motor, plus probably a couple 100-pound of gear. And my fat rear end there, and it was pushing my boat about 4 miles per hour, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading.
Yeah, Corey. So that's the deal. Speaking of which, I'm going to reach out to you in the next day or so. It's weird how things happen. Obviously, you guys have shut the doors of JB's Fish Sauce down. And I've had 3 people reach out to me this week wanting to buy JB's fish sauce. I don't know if these were like company people that bought off of you before or what have you. You couldn't get it locally, so they had to buy it from you. But anyway, they were interested in buying some. I don't know if that's still possible. Had a guy want 6 garlic and 2 pinch of garlic. So I don't know if that's possible with a miss or whatever. So anyway, we'll get at you. Let's see. Man, Jeff, to be honest with you, we are all ears. So we would love to bring on the Scioto River for sure. We could definitely promote them as well. So we are. If you're in the mood and you want to, sponsor us, it would be awesome. Next thing here, which goes right along with it. Am I going to rig it with a live scope? The answer to that is yes. Speaking of live scope, I'm sure most of you guys saw it. Sean Rita shared it. That's where I saw it. That there was a first tournament down, I think it was in South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere down there, that banned live scope. It was a charity tournament, not a giant tournament trail, but it was really crazy for me to see the very first tournament that I had heard of that actually said no live scope. Do I think that's going to be, a progressive thing? I don't think so. I think there's too much money in it. But to answer your question, Tennessee Bassmaster, yes. I got a couple of things I need to buy before that. I definitely need lithiums. My batteries. So a few years ago, man, it's been 7 years ago now, I was lucky enough to strike up a deal and a partnership with Odyssey Batteries. And I've been running those same Odyssey batteries since then, and I have nothing but good to say about them. They're great batteries, man. They're heavy, but they're made with virgin lead, which allows them to make thinner lead plates, which allows for more power within the same footprint. But right now, Odyssey batteries are for the PCM 2150s that I'm running right now. They're almost $400 a piece. You can buy lithiums for that price right now. So I'm that we're kind of working on a deal right now with Dakota Lithium. Hopefully they're going to step up and help the show out as well. But that's what I'm going to do. My goal is to have a Solix 15 on the front, which I already have, and I feel like I beat a dead horse. So I talk about this every show. I want to stick with Johnson Outdoors and go with Humminbird, and I would love to buy the Mega Live, but I don't feel like the technology is up to par. So my goal, unless Mega Live 2 comes out here very soon, is to buy one of the Echo Map or the GPS map or whatever the cheaper Garmin is, 12, and then the LSV 34 with the sonar, that's not cheap, man. They're like $3,500 for that combo.
You don't want that NBT 22?
Oh, I'd love to. If somebody wants to sponsor a $4,000 screen, I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, Jeff, I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, we could definitely make that happen.
Just a screen, right?
Yeah, you're right, Hunter. Fish still have to bite. But I will tell you, I'm on both sides of the fence with Live Scope. I'm going to use it. I'm going to buy it. I use it if I'm in a boat where that has it. It's definitely a game changer when it comes to catching fish. But it also has changed the way I would fish. If I had Live Scope on my boat, I feel like that I would not spend enough time in areas. As I mentioned before, Kyle and I were catching fish in 80 feet of water at Del Hollow for the championship down there, which is crazy. If I didn't have Live Scope, 1,000% I would have never caught those fish, because I would have never been fishing in 80 foot of water. I can promise you.
I like the sound of that, Corey.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Michael Boggs, buddy, what's up? Michael Boggs he is the store manager at TNT Outdoors out in Grayson, Kentucky. He and I are going to meet up probably on Friday to talk. See, right now you guys know that we're partnered obviously with Border Sporting Goods, and doing that to promote all of Shimano products, Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal, Power Pro. But we are going to try to strike up a deal to help those guys out there as well. Help them out. So we'll be seeing what's happening with that. But without further ado, again, this whole episode of On Another Line Live is dedicated to a one-day tournament. So, JR, we're going to go to a lake. It's going to be springtime. It's going to be pre-spawn. We already talked about this previously. By the way, guys, we don't know each other's baits, so we're going to have to just kind of like we're going to be surprised as we go on. Pre-spawn, water's just now warming up. We don't know anything about the lake. We do know that it has largemouth spots and smallmouth in it all together. And you know, it's going to be like a Highland Reservoir, something we fish like Yatesville, Grayson, something like that. I don't want it to be like St. Clair or something like that, which, you know, pretty much you can throw anything you want.
So are we going with number 8 first?
Yeah, so let's check out Tennessee Bassmasters. You know, Mega Live, dude, like I want to go strictly Johnson Outdoors because it would be way cheaper on me, right? Like a Mega Live transducer is like $1,500. I would much rather just strap that on my trolling motor, plug it in, and go. That's what I want to do, but they're leaving me no choice, really. Yeah, Corey. So I think it's cool too. So his question or his comments is to the show theme. I want to say, fishing a new lake unprepared, zero knowledge is my favorite thing to do. Fishing free and open mind without a history is great. I agree. Fishing history can either win a tournament or lose it for you. Normally lose it for you. So yes, we're going to go from 8 to 1 here. So I guess I will go first here. I'm going to bring up my number 8 bait here, and this is going to be, so I'm going to have to show you guys a little bit about this. Like what I mean is I'm going to have to show you some things here about the baits. So my very first bait for the number 8 spot is going to be some form of lipless. You know, I guess we could talk about baits that we would use in the lipless category. I don't know. No, we're going to pick one bait out of the category. So this is a lipless. We can talk about collar. So this is a Strike King Red Eye Shad 1/2 ounce. This is in the natural shad collar. I really like this one. If I'm going to be throwing something else, another collar in this, they have a Rayburn Red that I absolutely love. 1/2 ounce. You can throw the 2-tap in there if you want something that has a lot more rattle to it. But number 8 for me in the springtime about a lake that I've never fished before in my entire life and I know nothing about is going to be a lipless crankbait. The reason that is because I feel like you can cover an absurd amount of water with this. You can cover in different depths. You can cover different cover areas. You can throw this thing in grass. You can rip it in grass. You're not going to throw it in cover, obviously, because this thing's going to be, it's got 6 hooks on it, and it'll get 7 of them hung up somewhere. But I like the idea that I can fish this thing in different areas of the water column. I can fish it slow. I can yo-yo it. I can do all kind of things. But number 8 for me, Strike King Red Eye Shad, natural shad collar, or Rayburn Red.
I like it. I like it. That might make an appearance on mine as well. We'll just go ahead and some foreshadow.
Foreshadow, right?
So I definitely didn't do this in order of the most important ones. I'm trying to bring up this picture. So I went back in time and looked at some pictures. Hopefully some of them are actually within the time period we're talking about. But my number 8, okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Select window. Okay, can you see it yet?
Nope. There we go.
So number 8 is going to be a jerk bait. This is the Berkeley Stunna. I think this is at Yatesville. It was definitely cold. I think this is a great choice. A lot of people are rocking the red jerk baits nowadays, but cold water, I love a jerk bait. I'd say it's should be in just about anybody's arsenal, and it's something that, you know, activates that feeding response, as they say on tactical bass. And so I'll definitely include that on mine. as far as my favorite jerk baits, I love the Berkeley Stunna. That might be I'm not sure if that's the Table Rock color. I'll have to look and see which color it is. Obviously I like the Mega Bass, which we've been doing a lot of fishing with that lately. The Jackal Re-Range is a great jerk bait as well. And I guess that's number 8.
Yeah, so the jerk bait is an amazing bait. Again, so first off, if you've never thrown a Jackal Re-Range 110, when you do it, make sure you have some dude wipes with you, because you're going to poop your pants, because it's going to sound like you casted a $20 crankbait off or a jerk bait. Kind of crazy, but it's, it is what it is. Great bait. So let's see. I'm going to go number 7 here for me, and I am going to kind of go a little slower here, or a little smaller. Picasso Little Spotty. This bait can be fire in any time of the year, but definitely springtime is something I'm going to be throwing. The Picasso baits, we've been pushing them for quite a few months now. JR and I have been fishing them for years, but we obviously are partnered with Picasso now. But don't take that into consideration as why this is one of my favorite baits. I like a small compact jig like this and a lot of different applications. You can fish this thing in and around brush. You can fish it naked, or you can fish it with a trailer. My trailer of choice for something like this is going to be, I will just go ahead and show you this. It's going to be the wrong collar. Actually, may not be. It actually would fit fairly decently well. And I will share that right now. And this is going to be, you guys can just kind of save this in your memory here, because this is
Paca.
A Paca Slim made by NetBait. And this is a Paca Slim 3.5. I really like it because the back of it is pretty slim. I can cut it down, and I normally cut it down to where the first set of legs happen. So if you look at the pinchers, if you go up that a little bit, I usually take a pair of scissors and cut it right behind that second or that first set of legs there. This color is called Coosa Flare. Black and blue is really good if you're throwing a black and blue jig, but this is going to be the trailer that I throw on that little spotty. But going back to the little spotty is, if I check it out here, you can see that one, it has a ball-shaped head, which I really like. These things have titanium weed guards on them, and super sharp hooks. I really like it. And everybody, we always have these catchphrases. Game changer. Now it's sticky, sharp hooks. That is the new coined phrase there. So number 7 for me, some sort of little jig like this, Picasso Little Spotty. Blue Rock Custom Tackle triple threat jig, another really good one there. Really like that one. Blue and black, Ozark crawl on that. Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, we're staying very close to each other at this point.
The triple threat jig comes from Blue Rock Custom Tackle. Let me make sure that this is true. Blue Rock Custom, where is it? Let's see. BlueRockTackle.com is where you can get that at. And again, they're triple threat jigs. Again, no affiliation here. Jesse is an amazing guy. We help push his product. We like him. He's a good dude. Mark, I have a ton of lipless as well. Jackal TN60s. I have a ton of them.
Well, without further ado, I guess we're down to number 7, huh? So yep. Let's see. Would be the Jackal TN60. So ½ ounce. I like a ½ ounce bait.
We're not seeing the screen there, bro.
Oh man! Oh wow! Okay,
there we go.
So
yeah.
That's the one I like, especially for spring crawfish color, beautiful red color. These Jackal baits, the TN60 falls kind of head first. That big lip there is tungsten and kind of has a different shimmy than everything else. It is really loud too. I don't know if they have smaller BBs and more of them, but it's a really loud bait. I believe this is actually a little bit bigger treble than the back treble. I think that also probably aids in it kind of falling head first. Yeah, it does kind of look like a Rayburn Red for sure. You know, it's kind of hard to not throw a lipless in spring and a red one at that. But that would be my number 7.
The Jackal TN60, again, that lip on the front is tungsten. That's where the TN comes from. Also, which allows for a little bit more transfer of vibration when it hits things in the water if you're fishing on the bottom. But the TN60 has a ton of BBs in it. Like the rattle is really like it has a really distinct rattle. All right, so number 6. Number 6 for me, again, these are in a particular order. Number 6 for me is going to be some people are going to get annoyed with this probably that I've put this so far down on my list, but next for me is going to be some form of a football jig. This is a Picasso Aaron Martin's football tungsten football. This is in Coosa Candy, number 53.
Love that color.
Which is a new collar for them. And again, I don't want to bring it back up, but you guys saw it there a while ago. If I'm throwing a jig like this, I hardly ever throw it naked or without a trailer. Sometimes I'll cut the trailers down. We were talking, actually, I was looking online before, something we talked about with the little spotties. You know, in the wintertime or in the springtime, you're probably going to want something that has less movement on the trailer. You may even look at cutting down like something like a Zoom Speed Crawl, which is an awesome trailer. But I like those NetBait Paca Slim 3.5. And again, something like this, that Coosa Flare, that's the reason I chose that Coosa Flare collar from their website, because it pairs perfectly with this Coosa Candy that comes from Picasso. Again, you can see a better view of those titanium weed guards there that you have. You would think titanium, you think, man, I'm going to have such a crappy hook set ratio or anything like that. That's not the case. They're just as flexible, if not more flexible than a standard fiber weed guard. I dig the metal anyway, but again, my number 6 is going to be a football jig like this. And the reason this is because you can fish this thing in multiple depths of water. You can fish this thing dirt shallow, or you can throw a bigger one up to 1 ounce into 30, 40, 50 foot of water. You can pretty much find any kind of area that you want. It's not designed this way, but let's face it, a jig's a jig is a jig. You could change the trailer up on this to maybe some kind of a swim bait and use this as a swim jig too. If I were just given one bait like this jig to take, and again, if we were going to a place, we would have 100 different baits we can throw. But if I wanted to like maximize this, I could use this for a lot of different things. I can flip and pitch and cover. I can cast this jig. I can fish deep. I can fish shallow. I can swim it if I want to. So that is number 6 on my list, which is going to be some form of a football jig, whether that be one that I poured myself using a do-it mold with lead, or throwing the money out there for a tungsten jig such as this Aaron Martin style football head from Picasso.
Yeah, to me, I think it's just totally worth it to go up to tungsten. I mean, unless you're pouring your own, I feel like, and you know, a lot of people do pour their own. Most lead jigs now are $5. The tungsten jigs are 6 or 7. So to me, I'm going to pay the extra, couple bucks to be able to feel everything. Yeah.
So I read an article today before you get started, and it's maybe something we talk about and dive into later, but I saw an article that says, is mono, talking about fishing line, is it dead?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really use it anymore. Actually,
I don't have a single rod. It's straight braid or straight fluorocarbon for me. There's no in between.
I mean, I used to use it on my. I used to have a kind of a standard medium heavy fast lose rod actually in reel that I used for my buzzbait setup, and I used a mono line on that so that I just had a little extra minute to set the hook. And it worked fine. It gave me that little extra time, but I'd rather be able to really punch it to them and use braid.
Yep. So number 6, what do you got here, JR?
All right, I'll select my window. Oh wait, I hit the wrong window there. There we go. So some form of flat-sided crankbait. This particular one is the Rapala OG Tiny. I like these a lot. They're balsa, and they have that really tight wiggle that we all like to have during the springtime. Of course, this is another crawfish pattern. I always think of that in red during springtime. Kind of a no-brainer, easy one to tie on and cover some water with. But that's one of my favorite flat sides. Of course, the other one would be the Spro Type R in Rayburn Red, which I'm guessing that's going to make an appearance a little later on in the show today.
Surely not.
Yeah, I felt obligated to not use that one actually because I knew it was coming.
All right. So now comes the part of the show where I really had a tough time. The last 5 were really tough for me. And again, this is theoretical. Obviously, if I had my boat, I would have a ton of different baits. But if I was fishing as a co-angler or whatever, this is just something about our top 8 baits. So with that being said, my number 5 is going to be the Jackall Chunk Crawl.
Chunk Crawl.
Texas rigged. This is green pepper or green pumpkin. No, this is watermelon pepper. This is watermelon pepper. I like it. There's a green pumpkin pepper. It's a little darker. This may be actually green pumpkin pepper, but I like watermelon pepper best probably. I caught an absolute tank out at Grayson or Yatesville this year on it. It was 5.5 pounds. 2 years ago at a small pond in Kentucky, caught one almost 6 pounds on the exact same bait on a black and blue. This is a 3.5-inch bait. You can throw this as a trailer on a jig, but my favorite way to throw this thing right now is with a pegged weight Texas rig, 3/16-ounce weight, 4-aught Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook, and this thing gets freaking bit. I'm telling you, it is an amazing bait. It has some stench to it, boys. Don't leave this thing open in your car because when you wake up, you come back and get in your car the next day, you're going to think something died in there. These things have a funky scent to them. But I'm telling you what, I've caught some of the biggest bass over the last 3 years on this bait alone than I have any other bait on the planet. If I need a bait that I can count on to catch fish and have a potential to catch a giant, this is what I'm tying on. It's going to be, I don't like the 4-inch models. I think the 4 inches are a little too big. But the 3.5-inch Jackall Chunk Crawl, watermelon pepper, green pumpkin pepper, black and blue if the water is dirty or stained. That is my number 5 for the springtime, not knowing anything about the lake.
All right. And then, going back to that same kind of thing there, I'm going to go to a little spotty jig, especially in spring. I actually do have the other tungsten jig on there too, there in Martin's tungsten. You even put the color, that's my favorite, that green pumpkin amber. I love that color. I pair this up with NRX Plus. I mean, there's so many good options for your bottom-oriented baits, whether it's the Carolina rig rod, the 7.1 medium heavy, or the 7.5 heavy option. I've got all three of those. They're all amazing. You know, the heavier the bait, I'm going to go up a little bit more on, you know, the strength of the rod. Typically, I used my Carolina rig rod, which is a 7.3 medium heavy. It's just got a little bit more oomph to it for a half-ounce jig, 3/8 to half-ounce jig. But that would definitely be in my arsenal. I can't say enough about that little spotty. I just love that little jig. I think finesse jigs have really kind of taken over the market this year. I find myself throwing them a lot more often than even a football jig, just because I'm catching more fish with them.
Right. So another thing that I mentioned forgot to mention is with the little spotty. It's something I throw on a spinning rod almost 100% of the time. Throwing that thing on an 852 S NRX Plus, 872 S NRX Plus, the 611 medium heavy Drina spinning rod. X Pride, something like that, but that's definitely obviously a good bait. It made it on my list already. So number 4, again, getting gradually harder for me to make a decision. Number 4 for me, a jerk bait. I fish a jerk bait from when the water temperature gets below 50 degrees until the water temperature gets about 50 to 60 the following spring. You can catch fish on a jerk bait all through the year, but I feel like it's less capable of catching fish in my hands. I fish them too fast. This is one of my favorite jerk baits here. Obviously, this is a Vision 110 made by Megabass. These things are absolutely awesome jerk baits. We talked about them last week when we had Kevin, the Baitman Baxter, on, talking about why we thought they were a little different. But this is in a color called GP Stain Reaction. But this bait is something that I'm definitely going to be throwing. Some other jerk baits that I would probably throw, again, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be a Jackal Rerange 110, Shimano World Minnow 115 SP, and something that has flash boost technology in it, something like Black Silver, or something that is maybe a Clown. If it's colored, the stain of the water is a little different. But I like this bait right here. I've been catching more fish this winter. It's not even winter, I guess, yet, but this late fall into early winter, I've been catching a ton of fish on this jerk bait. If you are brave enough to get out and do some fishing right now, this bait right here has been putting every fish that you've seen me catch pretty much has come on this exact jerk bait, which is, again, Megabass Vision 110. Everybody likes the 110 juniors, or the plus ones are awesome too. The only downfall that I hate about these baits is they're $25 a piece.
Yeah, that's a real downfall. $25 for a bait is a lot.
It's a lot, but they work. Yeah, they work. So, all right, number 4. What do you got for me?
All right. I think everybody knew this was coming for me. So I've got to put, some baits that we are covering water in, especially in, the spring. We're covering water with the chatterbait. In this picture, this is the Berkley Slobber Knocker, half-ounce. I actually paired that up with a Berkley Power Stinger. I do really like that bait. I'm not sure that the Jackhammer is any better, to be honest. It might start its vibration just a hair quicker. I really think that's the key to chatterbait fishing, is feeling the vibration and knowing when to set the hook when you don't feel that vibration. If you have any grass in your lake, the chatterbait's kind of a go-to, and it's a great way to cover a lot of water.
Yeah, so TM Bassmaster, if you're talking about jerk baits, or if you're talking about that Vision 110, I am in the same boat as you. I own 2 at the point. I have like 50 jerk baits, but 2 of those Megabass, because they are stupid expensive. But I will tell you what, man, it's one of the few baits that I feel like I don't feel like they're worth the price, but I feel okay paying the price because I know that I'm going to catch some fish on them. So that's pretty decent. So now top 3, drum roll, please. Right. Drum roll, please. And this was actually super tough for me. I had to think about it a lot. And I thought about what I caught fish on last year. And this is going to be one of those right here. This is a Rapala Shad Rap Rattling Suspending 5. And this is in the blue silver pattern. It's like a mirror pattern. They do make the exact same one in a glass Shad Rap. Again, this is different than a Shad Rap 5. This is a rattling suspending. If you just go to the shelf and you pick up a Shad Rap 5, it is going to be different than this bait. This bait has a rattle in it. It also is suspending, whereas I don't think the actual 5 is suspending. Shimano just come out with a new bait that's similar to this called the Shimano Ember. I have some of those on the way, so I'll be able to show you guys that in the probably next week. I would say I'll show you those, but they're based on this same design. But this one bait right here won me a tournament at Yatesville this past spring with almost 15 pounds. I caught every fish on this crankbait. And I caught every fish within the last 2 hours of the tournament. I didn't switch baits until I was like, you know what? I'm tired of dragging stuff on the bottom and not caught fish. I'm going to spend some time covering water. If I catch fish, great. And if I don't, at least I went out swinging. Tied this bait on. And within about the third cast, I caught a 2.5, 3-pounder. And again, an hour and a half later, I have a limit, 14.5 pounds. I take home the win for Lewis County Lunkers. I also won big bass or big bag of the year with that. Yeah, the SS5. That's right. Yeah, it's like, it is an amazing lure. I really like it a lot. Matter of fact, I had Greg at the tackle box order me a dozen of them. That's how much I absolutely love these things.
Yeah, that's a great bait, man. It was either that or more of a flat side, and then I went with the flat side for spring. But that's a great bait. Tight wobble, easy choice. All right. I got to go classic now. I know you haven't put this on here yet, or you've already put this on here too, but since I haven't, let me update this. So our good old buddy, the Texas rig. So like before, this is a NRX plus 7.1 medium heavy. That is a 1/4 ounce weight. I like to pair that with, honestly, a lot of the time when I am using a small Texas weight, Texas weighted or Texas rig with a small weight, I'm going to use probably a Missile Baits mini D-bomb, especially early on in the spring. I'll start with, a beaver style bait like the mini D-bomb or the D-bomb. And then, as the water warms up, I'll go more to like a creature style bait. That way, a lot more movement. But I think that's a confidence bait for me. I mean, if a Texas rig isn't one of your confidence baits, you got to throw it more.
I believe that if I had to choose one bait to fish the rest of my life, it would be a Texas rig that crawled out of some sort. Speed crawl, chunk crawl, pocket slim. I just call it a day and do that. So it's a pretty good choice.
Yeah, now, it's hard not to, grab something like that, especially, when it's so versatile. I'd say that guy right there is probably my choice.
Fish any color you want to, Bubby, as long as it's green pumpkin.
Mm-hmm. And it smells good.
Smells like anise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so top two. Drum roll, please. What's Waller got in the bag o' tricks today for number 2? And that would be.
Dun, dun, dun. It's not number 1. What?
No way, dude. No way. But this is a Spro Little John Type R. A Spro Little John 50 Type R. Don't get confused with the MD Type R. The MD is a medium diver. You'll know the right one if it has the micarta bill on it or the what everybody calls the circuit board chip or circuit board lip. Absolute favorite color on the planet right here, Rayburn Red. These things have an astronomical rattle in them. Matter of fact, yesterday, did I put it out yesterday? No, it'll be coming out tomorrow, talking about my favorite flat sides, and this is on there, and I show how loud the rattle is on there. So I really like this bait. It comes in a ton of different colors. I like homemade shad. This bait flat out catches fish. Guys, there's no affiliation here with Spro. I know you guys are talking about, oh, Waller talks about Spro all the time. He's probably getting paid to say that. I am not. I'm telling you, I buy these things $14 a piece, just like you guys are. I probably have $7,400 worth of them in my garage right now. Funny, Hunter Clyburn messaged me a few days ago and said, before the tackle box closed, he's like, hey, I'm going to go up to the tackle box, buy some Type R's and things up there. I was like, no, you won't. And he's like, because they're all in my garage. And I'm not kidding. I bet I have 25 of them hanging in my garage. I like them that much. The rattle is phenomenal. They have a really good wobble to them. Flat-sided crankbait, spring, red collar. I'm telling you, I've wrecked them on this bait. You've heard the story before, but this exact same collar and bait broke one of them off Lake St. Clair after catching 30 fish or plus on it. It floated by Dusty's boat a quarter mile away from me. He tied it on, started catching fish with it on the exact same bait because he knew it was mine. Then fast forward 6 months later, January 1st, 2023, fishing a tournament with Lewis County Lunkers. I see it laying in my truck because he gave it back to me, tied it on that day, catch the big bass of the tournament, win the tournament with the same bait. Still have the same bait. It is hanging up in my garage in all of its glory. But number 2 for me, flat-sided crankbait, but on top of that is going to be a Spro Little John 50 Type R Rayburn Red.
Hey, I gotta love those Gamakatsu hooks, man. Those are my personal favorite. So another spring and honestly a search bait for me, especially going to a new lake, would definitely be a spinnerbait. This one's a really nice beaten up spinnerbait. It's an Accent 1/2 ounce double willow spinnerbait. I think it's great around the shad spawn, especially. So getting a little bit more into spring and later into spring. Honestly, I probably have a hard time deciding between a chatterbait and a spinnerbait. I think they both have really, a place. I probably use the chatterbait more around grass, whereas a spinnerbait, I cover a lot of water, move fast with it. But I think it's one of the most classic, if not the most classic baits in all of bass fishing. So why not throw it on there?
Right. So you got it paired up there with the SLX XT, which we've talked about over the last few days.
Oh, yeah. Great reel.
Shimano SLXT, bang for the buck, best you're going to get. I'm telling you. Has an external brake adjustment. It's just amazing. So, last but not least, number 1. And again, this was very tough for me, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I had a hard time. I had to think about it for a while. My number 1 bait, though. And it's kind of I don't know, it's weird to think about, but my number 1 bait in the springtime is a light wire spinnerbait. This is one of the very few remaining Greg Drown tackle box spinnerbaits that I have. Now I'm lying. I got 25 more hanging up because I bought 25 more before he closed down. But white chartreuse, willow leaf with a Colorado leaf, and you can see this bait right here. This was in March of this year. Hopefully you can see that bait right there, or that blade. Hopefully, yeah, it zoomed in there for you. Those are fish marks. Those are teeth marks from bass. This thing got absolutely chewed on for 2 weeks straight. I'm talking about every time I went out to Yatesville, I caught fish. And man, I caught some giants on this thing. This is one of the most fun ways to catch fish. I don't care where you're at, unless you're talking about a frog or a topwater. That's probably my number one. But if you get a fish to eat a spinnerbait, it is an absolute next level for me. I love it. One of the things that you're going to notice here on this bait is that I do have a trailer hook. I am that guy I don't ever throw a trailer as far as trailer bait on my spinnerbait. This is exactly how I throw it, just like this right here. I don't throw a trailer. I know some people do. I don't think that there's a right or wrong there. For me, I feel like I catch just as many fish on without the trailer. But I guarantee you what you won't find me doing is throwing a spinnerbait without that trailer hook. That is a one-aught Gamakatsu, trailer hook that's specifically designed for spinnerbaits. Has just a little piece of rubber tubing that goes over the eye, and you just pierce that plastic tubing with your hook of your spinnerbait. I do like you get a lot of people in both camps with this. You have one camp of people, which is where I am. I like that fit to be really tight and for the hook to stay straight out. I don't like it to be, jiggling around there, because I feel like, with the water moving around, it's going to make that thing flutter around, which one, I feel like it could cause the fish to see that hook, or two, the fish miss the hook altogether. I like to have the hook where it stands straight out, and it gets to the point where if that hook gets loose or kind of wonky on me, I'll pop it off, grab some more of that tubing, reset it. I don't like it to where it's really loose on there. Light chartreuse, light wire spinnerbait. That's a 1/4 ounce, by the way.
Yeah, I'd say I probably throw I'm typically either a 1/2 ounce or a 1/4 ounce. I slow roll a 1/2 ounce typically, and then I throw that exact same spinnerbait in a 1/4. And well, that if I'm going to a new lake, there's smallmouth anywhere, I am going to have a drop shot.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a drop shot.
So that is definitely going to be there. I'll give you a hit, a pearl for me. I love that Ayler's Edge color. It's like a green pumpkin with a blue tail on it. I'm going to be throwing that on a NRX Plus drop shot rod. I love this rod. It's really like a medium light, which is what I prefer to throw a drop shot on. It's stronger than a buggy whip, but it's pretty limber. Probably a 3/16 ounce. And I use tungsten typically on my weights for a drop shot. I found them pretty daggone cheap online. So I feel like, if it's going to help me get a few more bites and a few more fish in the boat, I'm going to use tungsten.
For sure, man. So that's cool, man. I dug this episode. Like, I really like that deal. Hope you guys did too. So we're at that 50-minute mark. If you guys have any questions or you'd like to drop some comments below, do so now. We have a lot of things coming up in the future. One of those being, again, as we mentioned earlier, we're now partnered with Malone's Marine in Ironton, Ohio. And it's been a long time coming. And it makes sense. We're so close to Malone's and all that stuff. So we are going to try to help, promote his shop, obviously. But others, we've been fortunate to kind of, swing and deal with some sponsorship this year. Solar Bat sunglasses have been in my corner since pretty much day one of this channel. Really, really good sunglasses. I have a pair right here. I've worn these glasses all year long. And when I say I destroy a pair of sunglasses, I mean I destroy them. Like, you're probably not gonna be able to see it. You can see it there. Like, all the paints wore off underneath here. This is a Solar Bat FL3, which is a floating bat 3. I really like this lens where it doesn't have it doesn't have frame below this, so you get more viewing area. This is gray lens, but I'm telling you what, man, these things have been put through it. Cool thing about Solar Bats, most of them float. I really like that. Columbia Sportswear, again, has been in my corner for a long time. Borders Sporting Goods, we just picked them up. Picasso Lures this year as well. And potentially coming soon, TNT Outdoors in Grayson, Kentucky. So we're going to try to work out a deal there on Friday or Saturday this week. Maybe we can jump in on the Scioto River, the Scioto River too, man. It'll be all cool. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys sticking around for this hour-long episode of On Another Line Live, where you guys, if you guys just not joining, you can go back and watch this through. We picked our 8 favorite baits, or 8 top baits if we were going to a lake where we had zero knowledge, but we knew that there was largemouth, smallmouth, and spotted bass in the lake. So I chose my top 8. JR chose his top 8. And speaking of that NRX Plus he was just talking about there, while it's on my mind, he has an 822 DSR, which is the drop shot rod. And if you're out there trying to buy rods and look at Loomis, they have an 822 DSR and an 822 SYR, shaky head rod, drop shot rod. So you're thinking they're both the same length and they're both the same power. What's the difference? Well, with NRX Plus, they have something called the multi-taper design where they can add or take away material along the blank to make it more of a different action for a different specific bait technique. I like to think that the shaky head rod has a little bit more backbone and about the same amount of tip as a drop shot rod, but where the drop shot rod is lacking that extra backbone.
I agree. I've got both of them. I love both of them. It honestly, if I would have had 9 baits, the shaky head would have been number 9.
Yeah, so if it's a bait that I'm going to pick up and I feel like I have confidence in, it's definitely going to be shaky head. I fish it a lot. I've been throwing some the D-worms from Berkeley. The power bait D-worms are like those. There's a lot of them. Jackal, Flick Shake, Nico Shake, all that stuff is great on that. So
I'm surprised you didn't put a wacky worm in your top 8, man.
Man,
that is something I was expecting to hear.
I've said it 100 times. This year, I'm not going to be doing it this year because I'm fishing the Toyota Series, and I'm going to be fishing the Toyota Series as a co-angler, and I will be fishing like some of the greatest hammer holes for smallmouth on the planet. So I'm probably not going to be doing that. But if I was a co-angler around this area right here, I can give anybody any advice. If you can do it, if you could bear with it and do it for an entire tournament all the time as a co-angler, if you throw a wacky rig Cinco 4-inch, something like a watermelon or green pumpkin, I can almost promise you're going to win a ton of money if you can bear through the agony of throwing that wacky rig all day. You're going to catch some fish.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I mean, I could do it now. I think I could. I catch a lot of fish on it too. So
yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, we're at that 1 hour, 52-minute mark. So you guys know what the deal is. I'm going to be adding a lot more of these things up to Spotify also. So if you want to go back and check these things out while you're digging through, going to work or traveling along, you'll have that opportunity there. It's all free. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to subscribe. Those of you guys out there that subscribed from my YouTube channel over the last few weeks, I definitely appreciate that. Right now, hit a milestone. I am 3 away from 4,600 subscribers. So I picked up 157 subscribers in the last month, which is pretty awesome. And I attribute that to YouTube Shorts. So I apologize. I've been putting out a YouTube short about every other day, and I have them scheduled out until like the 27th of this month, every other day. So it's boosted my channel views a lot of subscribers heading for that 5,000 subscriber mark. So I appreciate it. All the support, guys, you've given us over the years, and it's not going to stop now. We're going to get out and do some fishing. Weather here in Ohio sucks. It's going to get cold this weekend and snow, but there is a potential that JR and I are going to just grab a couple rods and go down to the Greenup Dam and do some sauger fishing here Thursday or Friday. Maybe Thursday is a better day. I don't know what you got going on that day, but Friday looks like it's going to rain. Yeah, we're going to go down there. We'll throw on some GoPros. We'll create a video about it. Maybe we'll go live down there. But with that being said, unless you got anything, JR.
No, I had a good time.
Yeah, it's all good, guys. You know the routine. If you guys can, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.